Today, we'll have Ashley's July Disney World trip that's coming up on this episode 524 of WDW Prep to Go. Hello and welcome to WDW Prep to Go, where we talk strategy and ideas for people planning their Disney trips. I am your host, Shannon Albert from WDWPrepSchool.com. Thank you for being here for episode 524. Today is another trip report. This time it is with Ashley, who just spent 5 or 6 days at Disney World in mid-July. And I'll have that for you in just a minute. As always, a reminder that if you want to be a guest like Ashley, the only way to do that is to leave a voicemail at the SpeakPipe information. If you have show notes in your podcast app, it'll be linked there. If not, it is at speakpipe.com/WDWPrep2Go. You can do that on desktop or mobile. Leave a voicemail with the details of your trip. And if it works out with our schedule, then somebody on my team will reach out and get the pre-trip and the post-trip booked. Also, a reminder that if you want episodes that are ad-free, there are 2 ways to do that. One is to become a patron, because that is posted at the same time as the main feed on Patreon, but without ads. There is also lots of other stuff going on Patreon, including a whole separate podcast and a private Facebook group and close friends on Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. But you can also subscribe to YouTube Premium. That's actually how I listen to most podcasts myself these days. And that gets you podcasts and videos without ads. So that's another way to do it. All right. So today I am talking to Ashley, who is no stranger to the parks, but she wanted to include some special things this time, especially for her birthday. And she also incorporated a special day during the trip where they spun the wheel to see what they were going to do next. So you can see how that went in my conversations with Ashley. You and I are talking on Saturday, July 11th, and you told me you're going to Disney World.
We are, yes.
What's your trip dates?
We are going from Wednesday, July 15th to Monday, July 20th.
Okay. Who's we?
It's going to be me, my partner, Tiffany, and then my younger brother, Cody.
Okay. And is this a first trip for anybody?
It is not. Me and Cody have been going frequently since growing up. Tiffany went for the first time when we started dating. So her first trip was last year, actually. So this is her 3rd trip now because we go kind of frequently. We try to go at least once a year. But for me and Cody, it's been a lot.
It's normal. Did you feel any pressure when you first took her? Like, I got to make this good?
Yes. So much pressure. It was actually, I think we enjoyed the second trip more than the first trip, because the first trip, it was like we have to do everything. And then the second trip, it was more of now we know what we like. We could take it a little slower. And so now I feel like this one will be even better because now we know even more of like kind of our groove when we go.
Exactly. Have you guys ever been this time of year?
I have, yes. Actually, we did go last year for the Halloween party in August. So July, I'm not so sure, but we've gone in August a few times.
Which is similar.
Yeah.
It's similar weather.
Yeah. So
we're for sure.
We're very prepared. Many fans have been purchased before this trip.
Yes, as you must. But based on all the crowd reports and everything recently, it might be easy in terms of that.
We're really hope so. So it's actually, we chose these dates. It's my 30th birthday on the 15th. So
that's happy birthday.
Thank you. It's the big 30th birthday trip. So yeah, we're very excited.
Okay, great. So let's start talking about it. So you leave on your birthday, July 15th. How are you getting there?
We are flying from Newark. So our flight is at 7:58 a.m. So we live like 10 minutes from the airport, which is super easy. So we're just taking an Uber to the airport. We have it scheduled for, I think it's like a 5:43 pickup. It's what Uber suggested. So we'll get there by probably 6. So the flight's at 7:58 and we're supposed to land at 10:51.
And then where do you head after you land?
We are staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge. So we rented DVC points. So we are staying for the first 4 nights. We are staying in a Savanna View villa, or is that what it's called when it's 1 bedroom, or not 1 bedroom, when it's just
Studio.
Yeah, studio, thank you. That's the word. So we're staying in a studio. It's actually 2 separate reservations because when we first booked, there was only availability from the 19th to the 18th, and then we were able to add on the 18th to the 19th. And then it became the 20th because we live very close to where the World Cup is being held, and the flights coming home on the 19th were, like, an absurd amount of money, and we couldn't figure out why, and then we realized it is the day of the World Cup championship. So, for price reasons, and also we didn't even know that we would be able to get an Uber home if we did come home on the 19th, we ended up just adding another night. So now the 19th to 20th is just at Pop Century because it's kind of just our bonus day now.
Okay. Okay. And have you guys ever stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge?
I have not. I've been wanting to stay since I was a kid and, like, begged my dad when I was a kid, but he said it was too expensive and they only had buses and all of the reasons not to stay. But on our last trip, we decided to kind of do, like, an impromptu lunch at Sanaa, and we were like, the vibes were immaculate. So that was kind of our deciding factor that we wanted to try staying there. So,
Okay.
mm.
All right. So to get from the airport to there, are you going to take Uber?
Yeah, just an Uber or Lyft. We haven't scheduled that one, but we'll just compare prices and call when we get there.
Okay. All right. So on this arrival day where you're checking in Animal Kingdom Lodge, everything, do you have any plans once you arrive?
We do actually. We have a very long day planned, which
Mm.
I don't normally do that on the arrival day, but it's my birthday and also it's extended evening hours at Epcot or not Epcot, at Magic Kingdom for deluxe guests, so we wanted to take advantage. So the plan is to hopefully arrive at the resort around 12:30 by 12:30, and then we would like to get lunch at Sanaa. We're staying in Jumbo House actually for DVC and Jumbo House, so we're probably going to just take an internal bus to Sanaa because you can walk, but it's going to probably be a million bajillion degrees. So we'll probably take the internal bus over to Kidani Village and have lunch at Sanaa for bread service. That's what we had last time, and it was up there, one of the best things I've had at Disney. So that's like the birthday meal. And then we're going to go to the room whenever it's ready, just kind of refresh. And then we're planning to take the bus over to Magic Kingdom. We may or may not. It kind of depends on when we leave Animal Kingdom Lodge. We might go to the Polynesian because we love Tambu Lounge. It's kind of a tradition to go there, get ohana noodles, and banana bread pudding would be a top tier birthday cake. So we'll see depending on time. If it's too late, we'll just go right to Magic Kingdom. If we feel like we have time, we'll go over to the Polynesian. And then we did end up getting lightning lanes for this day because Magic Kingdom is open until 11 for the regular hours. So we figured even if we get there at 6, that's still 5 hours of time that we could be using lightning lanes. So the times that I got, even though we booked a week out, it was a little tricky to get the times that we wanted, but we do have lightning lanes. Do you want me to go into the times or just
Yeah. When do they start?
Sure. So we have Haunted Mansion from 4:35 to 5:35. Then we have Big Thunder Mountain from 6:45 to 7:45. Tiffany's never been on that, so that will be fun. And then Winnie the Pooh, 8:40 to 9:40. And we did get an individual lightning lane for Mine Train, 8:30 to 9:30, so we could go on it at night. That has become that and Tiana's are Tiffany's 2 favorite rides, we have learned. So we didn't get a lot of lightning lanes. We only got this one because that is her favorite, and we know we'll want to go on it more than once. So we did get that. We also have a Beak Barrel reservation at 7:35. I've heard very mixed reviews, so it might end up being a one and done, but we wanted to at least give it a try and see.
Well, if it's a one and done, you have to do it then once.
Mhm. Yeah. We've done Oga's, and I feel like I've never had a great experience at Oga's because I feel like it so much depends on who you got sat with, and previously, we've always gotten sat with people who kind of gave us, like, the "Why are you sitting with us?" look. So if it's a good group, I'm sure it'll be fun. So we'll see, fingers crossed.
Or by yourselves.
Or even better, that would be cool. Not that we aren't social people, we are, but I like to be social when people want to talk to me, not when they're like,
Exactly.
why are you sitting
You,
with my family?" So,
right. You don't want them to be
mhm,
surprised.
yeah. Mhm. And
Okay. And then it's extended evening theme park hours.
it is. So I think we would like to see Starlight. There's 2 parades that night, one at 9 and one at 11, and then we do wanna see the fireworks at 10 that night. So we'll fit those in somewhere, and then extended evening hours, we'll just kind of hit whatever we can hit. We do want to go on Tron, but we couldn't bring ourselves to buy an individual lightning lane because it's like 20 something dollars and it's a 1 minute ride. We also aren't sure if Tiffany's going to go on it or not. I have gotten her to go on a good amount of roller coasters. She had never been on one before Disney World, but this one, the way that you have to sit scares her. So we will see how brave she's feeling, but we didn't want to buy the lightning lane and then we weren't sure what she would end
Well,
up doing.
there is a bench.
There
Like,
is.
yeah, so if she doesn't like the motorcycle part of it.
We were thinking about it. We'll see what we can get her to do.
And you also like it, it's extended evening theme park hours. Maybe you go there as well.
Mhm.
Or instead.
Yeah, so I think we'll plan to do that at some point during that time. There's certain rides where I'm like, I know that you won't hate this, so I want you to try it. And Tron is one of those. I think she can tolerate it. There's other rides like Tower of Terror where I won't even peer pressure her at all because I know she will genuinely not enjoy it. We went on Space Mountain the first time. She just like, I was like yelling, having a good time, and she was completely mute. And then finally we slowed down at the ends and she just goes, "Is it over?" So I was like,
Mm.
okay, so you didn't enjoy that. So I know it's not just you're scared, you genuinely don't love all roller coasters. So I can kind of gauge from that. But then she loved my train. Slinky Dog was like so. So I can gauge what I think she'll like.
That's so funny because they seem kind of similar to me, like
Yeah.
in a similar level.
Well, I think what happens was we got put in row 9 on Guardians, and I told her it was the best row, and she was like, "Why, why, why?" And I didn't wanna tell her that it was because it was the fastest, so we
Mhm.
just kinda went on the ride, and then I told her afterwards when she loved Guardians, so it's
Okay.
very interesting. But afterwards, I told her, "Yeah, the back is the best row because it's the fastest," and then we went on Slinky, and we just coincidentally got put in the back row. So I think she just was terrified because she knew she was in the back row, but she wants to try it again. So
Mhm.
we'll
Now
see.
she knows what to expect, so maybe that'll
Yeah.
be easier.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's gonna be a long day,
Yeah,
but,
for
so
sure.
what's the next stage? Thursday, July 16th.
So we're starting the day at Epcot. We said we want to arrive probably by 10 a.m. We're not going to try to rope drop because we don't know what time we're going to end up going back on the day before. We might not make it until 1 a.m., but we'll just kind of leave when we're done. But arrive at Epcot by 10. These lightning lanes were not ideally the times that we wanted, so this might change. But right now we have a lightning lane for Frozen at 10:50, Soarin' at 12:25, and then I haven't even booked the third one yet because it's probably just we're gonna book something when we get there so we can just kind of ride it and then start going for Ratatouille or another tier 1.
Mm.
We are gonna go on Guardians at least once. We didn't get a lightning lane, so we'll just kind of monitor the wait. We don't really mind waiting for that if it's like an hour or less because it's air conditioned and it just moves pretty fast. So and it's worth it. I feel like the wait to reward is worth it on that one.
You like the
So
ratio there.
yeah,
Mhm,
and then we'll go around World Showcase. It's one of like the rare times where there's no festival.
mhm.
So we're going to use the opportunity to try things that we haven't tried just because there's always a festival or just get the things that we know that we like. So it's like a tradition for us to go get avocado margaritas and queso at La Cava. So we'll do that. My brother's only 20, so he'll have to just sip a soda, but we're going to have and avocado margaritas and queso. I know we like the school bread and the coffee in Norway and some other things that we haven't tried. So we'll just kind of go around and snack around. We do have a beer garden reservation at 2:10. We've never been there, and they are doing me and Tiffany are pass holders. I have been, she's getting one this trip, and they're doing 40% off for pass holders at that time. So I think we're going to try it depending on how much we snack around before then, just because it's something new for us. And I feel like for me and Cody, it's hard to find something new, but it is something new. So
Oh,
mm,
and this is community dining where everyone expects to eat with other people, so maybe you'll enjoy
oh,
the
yeah.
social part of it.
Uh-huh. Yes, that would be nice. And then we plan to just take a break at the resort, and then we will go to Disney Springs that night. I think Disney Springs is Tiffany's favorite park, actually. That was her first impression of Disney because our first day we ever went to Disney, we went to Disney Springs. So I feel like it like holds a special place in her heart. So she was like, "We need to go to Disney Springs." She's like, "In the first couple days." So we're not going the day before because of extended evening. So we're going this night. So we're planning to go around 5 PM and just do some shopping, and then we think we wanna get food at CityWorks. We've never been there, but they have crab rangoon mozzarella sticks that we saw on TikTok, and that's just I keep saying Tiffany's favorite, so you can just I feel like when you've gone to Disney so much and you have someone who's new to Disney, you want to make them like it, and she does, but you find the things that you know they will love. So that's kind of where you're gonna keep hearing that, but
Mhm.
that's, like, one of her favorite foods. So we might have to go there. We always get Gideon's cookies at the beginning of our trip just to snack on, like, that's, like, our breakfast for the next couple days. And then we are going to go to level 99. So
New. It's new.
yeah, me and Cody are like, we love arcades, escape rooms, all of that. So we feel like
Mhm.
this will be right up our alley. We did something like this, or it wanted to be this last year at a place near us, and it just wasn't that well done, but this seems like it is very well done. So we're very excited to try that.
It does.
Mhm.
Okay. That'll be fun to hear about.
Yeah, so we're doing it. We haven't booked it because honestly, all of the times are still available, and we were debating the time, but I think we're going to end up doing it at 8. That's, like, their last available time, and then I think it was you could book either a 1.5-hour slot or a 2.5-hour slot, so we're doing the 1.5 hour, which I think it was, like, $30 a person, so not I think that's actually the price of level 99 in other locations. I thought they were going to, like, price gouge because it's Disney and you need to pay Disney tax, but I think that is actually just their set normal pricing, so we're excited about that. And then also something I feel like that's important to know is we weren't sure if we should do level 99 when we first got there or if we could shop and then go because we weren't sure what to do with our bags, but they do have free lockers. So whatever we do buy, we can put in a free locker. So that is just a good tidbit to know if you're considering. But then we will shop. I don't know if we're going to get full dinner at CityWorks or get something else to eat as well, but then that's that day.
Okay. What is your plan for Friday, July 17th?
So this is our Hollywood Studios day. So this is actually, I think, the only day that we actually are going to rope drop. So we are going to rope drop and go on Rise first, assuming it's not broken down, which is a big assumption to make. But hopefully it's not, and we can rope drop. If not, we will switch gears in the moment. And then we want to get a nice Ronto wrap and black calf cold brew for breakfast because we love both of those. And then our lightning lanes, which hopefully we can switch these around. Also, 2 out of 3 of these are just going to be my brother, but we still got my brother and I, but we still got lightning lanes for all 3 of us. So at least Tiffany can come through the line with us and then she can exit. But so she's not just by herself. So first we have Rock and Roller Coaster from 10:15 to 11:15. I went on this for the first time when I was, I think, 8. My brother or not my brother, my dad and my sister brought me on this hysterical crying. I don't even know if in 2026 they would still allow a child to get on the ride in that condition, but I went on it and I was screaming and crying, and I still have the picture because we bought it to this day, but I look absolutely horrified, and then as soon as the ride ended, asked to go again. So I love this ride. Cody has just at 20 years old started going on big roller coasters. So he's going to go on this with me, which I've been begging him since he was a kid. So I'm very excited. And then after that, we have Tower of Terror. Right now, it might just be me. It might be me and Cody. Definitely won't be all 3 of us. So we will see what happens with that. So we have Rock and Roller Coaster at 12:10, and then we have Toy Story Mania at 1:15. But we are just hoping to move this up. If it's at 1:15, we're actually not going to use it because I got a call today from Disney Vacation Club asking us to do a tour. So they're offering $100 each up to 2 people to do a tour. So we decided to actually schedule that for 2 o'clock. So Cody may stay in the park or he could come with us if he wanted to. It's up to him. But we are going to go over and do a tour at the Riviera. So they said it's about an hour long. And then I asked them if they could transport us back to Animal Kingdom Lodge, and they said that they 9 out of 10 times can. So we'll take the Skyliner to Riviera, do the tour, and then hopefully take their transportation back to the resort. I told them on the phone we're not planning to buy it right this second, but maybe in the next however many years, and they said that's totally fine. They just like to inform people. So that is on the agenda. Before that, we do want to get Cody's thing is he wants to get lunch at Docking Bay 7. So that is the plan. Then after the tour, we're going to go back to the resort, take a break. I would like to swim. I feel like one of the hardest parts about being a girl is if you swim, then you have to get ready. And I don't know, depending on what time we get back, if we're going to have time for all that. So I would like to swim. If not, we have other swim time scheduled. But then we are going to go back to Hollywood Studios. However, we do want to we've been to Cruise Cup Lounge at the yacht club. We went there our last trip, and it's just like a little hole in the wall lounge, but they do have really, really good, like the prime beef sliders. So I think what we are going to do is, depending on what bus comes first, take a bus to Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom, and then take either a bus from Animal Kingdom or Skyliner from Hollywood Studios over to Yacht Club to get that for dinner. So a lot of work, but the sliders are really good. And they just renovated too, so it's even nicer in there now. So we want to head over there. And then after that, we're going to probably take the boat back to Hollywood Studios. And then for that night, one of my sister's like longtime best friends is actually Hook in the Villain show for some of the shows. So I asked him what shows he's at, and he's going to be in it that night. So we are hoping to see the Villain show. None of us have seen that before, so it's also something new, and we'll get to see him. So extra fun. And then there's 2 Fantasmic showings, one at 9 or 10:30. So we are planning to see it. I'm not sure what time. It just kind of depends on if we feel like we did everything by 9 or if we feel like we need more time. And then what's nice is the park actually closes at 10 this night, which I feel like has not always been the case, but it does. So we're excited to have that extra time. And then that is that day.
Okay. Saturday, July 18th.
Yes. So this is our break morning. So we have a breakfast at Boma booked for 10 a.m. And then, which none of us have been there either. Actually, I may have gone when I was like 8 years old, but that doesn't count. I don't
You don't remember.
I don't remember.
It may be different
Yeah,
now.
I like vaguely remember the architecture, and that's all that I remember from that. And then that's going to be our set pool time. So we'll swim for a while. We'll just have lunch at the resort. And then we will get ready when we feel like we're done. And then this night, we're excited. I feel like also when you've been to Disney a lot, you find ways to make it different and exciting. So we were watching a vlog, and a vlogger we watched did this. And we were like, that looks like a lot of fun. We want to do that. So we are going to have our whole afternoon and evening decided by spinning a wheel. So we downloaded, I think it's called Just Spin the Wheel Random Picker. It was free. There is a paid version, but I'm not sure what you would need to pay for because everything we needed was free. But basically, we made a wheel that will decide what park we go to. And then for each park, it has all of the different attractions, or it says like meet a character, go to a gift shop, get a snack. So we will be doing that. We're very excited. So we have a wheel made for choosing a park, a wheel made for each park, and then we also have a wheel made for the countries in Epcot for some things if we end up there. So those are the choices. There's also a park hop option. So we might end up park hopping, but we did make a rule where you can't park hop until the third spin in a park. So we're not going to a park and then immediately going to a different park.
Okay, so you spin the wheel to decide where you're going, and once you get there, you're spinning the wheel to decide what you do.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
And then our basic rules are we're allowed to spin again if the wait is over 40 minutes. No park hop until the third spin, and then we can veto and then take a vote if we really don't want to do something, but the vote has to be unanimous. So those are our set wheel game rules.
Okay, so you don't know what you're doing that
We don't.
afternoon or evening. Got it.
Except the one thing we do know is that we are, and none of us have been here either, we are going to go to Wailulu at the Polynesian Tower. We have a 9:30 p.m. reservation, so we can hopefully eat outside and watch Happily Ever After from there.
That would be lovely. All right, Sunday, July 19th is your moving to Pop Century Day.
Yes, so we are moving to Pop Century. We would like to possibly get breakfast at Sanaa. I feel like this isn't a super known thing, but they do have breakfast at Sanaa. It's, I guess, considered quick service, and the options look really good. So if we can get over to Kidani Village, we might do that. And then we have not fully decided what we want to do this day because since we're switching resorts, we do have the free water park access. And we have not been to, I think actually I might be the only one out of the three of us that has been to a water park because I don't even know if my brother was born yet. So we might go to Blizzard Beach. If not, we will go to Magic Kingdom. We're going to just kind of leave it up to us the day of. So we haven't booked any lightning lanes for that day because we don't know what we're going to do in the morning. We also haven't decided yet if I think it's going to depend on if we choose Magic Kingdom or Blizzard Beach, if we want to give our bags to Bell Services and have them transfer the bags for us, or if we want to just Uber over to Pop and then go from there. I'm just scared if we go to a water park and then we go back to the resort and we're like wet and soggy and our bags aren't there yet. So it's just going to depend kind of on what we decide to do. So either Magic Kingdom or Blizzard Beach in the morning, and then go back to Pop, take a little break and a refresh, and then we're going to go to Epcot that night to do what one does at Epcot, and then see Luminous at 9.
And then Monday, July 20th is departure.
It is, unfortunately. Our flight home is not until 7:03 PM. So we do have Cody has a 6-day park hopper, so he has admission this day too. So we are planning to just go to any park that we feel like we want more time at. We also don't have Animal Kingdom built into our schedule, so maybe we will want to go there. We feel like there's just not a whole lot that we haven't done there. I love Flight of Passage, but now it's so blurry to me that it's like it doesn't feel as worth it to wait in the long line. I don't know when they're planning to fix that, but I feel like that's like really ruining it for me right now. It like takes you out of
It's
the magic because I'm like, is it
you.
me? Is it
No, no,
yeah.
no, no. You and a lot of people, and it's digital, so you would think it would not be blurry,
Yeah. Mhm.
but
That it would just be you could see my
but
cats
yeah, that's what.
too.
What else on this day before you have
Um,
to head to the airport?
yeah, so we're planning to just do whatever park and then go back to Pop, and we plan to leave the resort around 4:30, and then our flight home's at 7:03. We're supposed to land home at 9:59 PM, and then we'll just take an Uber or Lyft back.
Right. So that's fun. I feel like you're
Yes,
fitting a lot into your trip.
we are. We're fitting a lot in, but we also have the planned in breaks, and we're not doing a lot of rope dropping. So
Yeah,
we tried to kind of balance a little bit there.
yeah. I think that'll work well for the heat too. So
Yeah,
that should
definitely.
be good. All right. Is there anything we haven't talked about yet?
I don't think so. I think that is everything.
Okay. Well, I hope you have a good trip and happy birthday.
Thank you
And
so much.
I'll talk to you when you get back.
All right. I will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
Welcome back from your trip, Ashley.
Thank you, Shannon.
You and I are talking on Saturday, July 25th. So that means you've been back for 5 days. How are you
Mhm.
feeling? And how was your trip?
Was definitely sad when we got home, but finally starting to readjust now. But the trip was amazing. I'm sad it's over, but it was amazing.
Okay. All right. I am excited to hear how it went. So let's start on Wednesday, July 15th, your
Yeah.
30th birthday
And
and your flight day.
honestly, this day probably could not have gone any better, which was
Hmm.
wonderful because it was my birthday. We
Hmm.
had some days, we had some hiccups during the trip, but my actual birthday was pretty much perfect. So, my brother, Cody, he actually came the night before. He lives in about an hour away. So, my dad dropped him off at my place the night before. And then our Uber came in the morning at 5:45 AM. I was like a kid on Christmas Eve. I really did not sleep the night before. I could not. So I was maybe running on like 2 hours of sleep,
Hmm.
which is funny because I've been to Disney so many times, but it had been almost a year at that point. So I was just and it was new because I was going with my girlfriend and my brother, who are like my 2 favorite people. So I was just so excited. So didn't
But
sleep.
I'm also looking at your plans for this day and knowing on 2 hours of sleep how hard that will be. But
Yeah.
let's keep going.
Mhm. So, yes, Uber came at 5:45, so we got to the airport by 6. It was very easy. We were flying United. We pretty much walked right through security. Me and Tiffany had TSA pre-check and Cody did not, and he actually beat us through going through regular security. We did get pulled aside. I got randomly selected, and then one of our bags got pulled aside just so they could look at our toiletries. Everything was fine, but they just
Hmm.
had to look. But yeah, he beat us through, which was funny.
Hmm.
And then we just grabbed breakfast at the airport, just a light breakfast. We didn't want to be like starving when we got there. And then I got my free birthday drink from Starbucks. If it's anyone's birthday, make sure you do that. And then we were very picky. This is kind of a theme throughout the whole trip. We were very careful to try to avoid anything with lettuce or like fresh produce because I'm sure everyone knows at this point what's going on with that. So this was fun because we got like sandwiches and we were asking for no lettuce and they were like, "You don't want anything on it." We were like, "No, please." But our plane, we boarded on time. We actually left the gate to the minute at our flight time at 7:58 a.m. The flight was actually gotten early. It was such a smooth flight. We did a Walmart order on the plane right before we took off. So we ordered water bottles and some snacks. And then the flight felt so quick. Right now, our obsession, I just want to tell everyone about these because we love them. We do these lifelines dot by letter. So it's like a mixture of like a coloring book and a color by number or paint by number. So you have the letters and then you have the different colors and it's like dot art. And we're obsessed with those right now. So the flight felt very fast because all three of us were just doing that.
And did
And
you say that's
then,
called dot by letter?
yeah, so the brand is Lifelines, and then the ones that we like are dot
Okay.
by letter. They have some different versions, but we do them like every single night. They're so relaxing.
Okay. Got
But
it.
we did that. We landed early and then we changed before we got on the monorail there. We got on the monorail, got to hear Buddy Dyer by 10:55 a.m. We were supposed to land at 10:51, but we were already changed going on the monorail by 10:55.
Mhm.
And then once we took the monorail to the other side, we did stop at the Disney store. We got so lucky. All that me and Tiffany wanted was these ears that they have black and white polka dots on the bow. And we went to the Disney store and they had 4 in the airport. And we went to pay and she was like, "Oh, I just took these down off the display because everybody wanted to buy them. We have 4 left and like this is it." So we bought 2 of those. There was only 1 left after that. And they were not anywhere in Disney the rest of the trip.
Wow.
So if there's something you really want, it's worth stopping in that store. And they do the annual pass discount too. So we were able to do the 20% off. So we were very happy we made that stop. And then by the time we were done with that, our bags were already taken off of the carousel and to the side of the carousel, which I didn't think we took that long. I think MCO was just very fast this day. But our bags were right there. We called an Uber. The Uber got there in 2 minutes. And then we were pulling into Animal Kingdom Lodge at 11:46. And then as we were pulling in, I got the text that our room was ready.
See, this is going along with a theory that it's
Mhm.
geo-fenced somehow.
It was actually so it was on our way. We weren't quite on Disney property when I got the text, but we were on our way there.
Mhm.
But yes, we got the text that the room was ready. And then also our Walmart order arrived like 2 minutes before us. So everything was just going very
Bam,
smoothly.
bam, bam.
Mhm.
Okay, so then did you take your Walmart order to your room with you at that point?
Yes, so we were going to carry it ourselves, but Bell Services insisted that they help us. So we actually she was the best. Her name was Vanessa, and she walked us up to our room. She was like basically giving us a whole tour on the way to the room, telling us all the facts about the resort. She was so sweet. And then as we were getting to our room, she's like, "Oh, you're going to have a big surprise when we get there." And so we got in. She goes, "I want you to go straight to the balcony," when she opened the door. And we ended up being right in front of like a pond, and there was a giraffe bent over drinking the water right outside of the room, which was so cool. And she just hears us all go, "Oh my God." She's like, "Okay, so I guess the room is good. You like it? We're all good?" We're like, "Yes, thank you so much." So
How
that was
did
just a
she
great
know? How did she know the giraffe was there?
we were trying to figure that out, but we realized that as we were walking to the room, there's windows, and she, I guess, knew where our balcony was, and she saw the
Okay.
giraffe, so she knew that we were gonna be able to see it from our room.
Okay. I was like, "Wow, they keep the giraffes on a schedule or
I
something?"
know, we were confused at first. We were like, "How did she know that?" But yeah, that was awesome. I have never seen a giraffe drinking water like that. I sent a picture, so if you guys post that, but it was very, very cool. So we got to unpack a little bit, get settled, and then we also left a class compliment for her, which is so easy. You just need to know their name, and then it's good if you know their hometown too. And then we went and we took the internal shuttle to Sanaa. So another thing, we stopped in the gift shop real quick downstairs. We went outside to take the internal shuttle, and it was just right there waiting for us. So if you don't know and you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's not where the buses are. It's just literally you walk right outside the lobby and you walk straight, and it's just these small white shuttles that take you back and forth. So that was super easy. We went over and we sat down at the lounge at Sanaa by 1:35 p.m.
That is incredible timing.
I know. It was great. And our server was great. We did get sat at like a communal style table, but the people we were with were nice. He gave us glasses of like a champagne or wine for my birthday. And then he gave Cody this like fruit soda because he's only 20. That was delicious. And then we shared bread service. The reason we opted to go to the lounge instead of the restaurant is because we really like the butter chicken, but the butter chicken on the regular menu is like 30 something dollars. But if you go to the lounge, they let you get a kid's meal.
Mhm.
So we end up paying, I think it was like 11 or $12 for butter chicken, two sides, and I think it came with a drink. I don't remember if it came with a drink, but it's such a good deal. So we got the bread service. Me and Tiffany each got a butter chicken, and then Cody got the Sanaa burger, which is not talked about enough. The Sanaa burger was one of the best burgers I have ever had. And I'm like a burger connoisseur. I try a lot of burgers, and it was delicious, and nobody talks about it, I feel like. Uh,
Maybe people aren't thinking about burgers when they eat there, but if it's good.
it was so good. It had like goat cheese and just like whatever they put on it was amazing. I'm like a ketchup girl, and I did not put any ketchup on this burger because it was so good. And then he also brought out a dessert for my birthday as well. So we got the wine and a dessert here. The dessert that he brought, I don't think was even on the menu, but it was so good. It was some type of mango, like sorbet ice cream situation. It was delicious. And we looked on the menu and it was not there. So I don't know what it was, but just have it be your birthday if you go there because the
Yes,
dessert
just
was so good.
yeah.
And then we just went to the overlook at Sanaa, the zebras and giraffes, or not at Sanaa, at Kazani Village. The zebras and giraffes were right there. And then we took the internal shuttle back to our room just to grab all of our park stuff. And then we were on the bus on our way to Magic Kingdom at 3:45. And
How are you feeling at this point? Miss two
honestly,
hours of sleep.
great. I feel like the adrenaline
Okay.
this
All
day
right.
was just running. And again, we just walked right onto the bus. It was right there, basically waiting for us. We got to Magic Kingdom. Tiffany had to pick up her annual pass, and then we were in the park by 4:18. And the park did not close until 1 a.m. for deluxe resort guests. Not all of us made it, but one did.
Mm. We'll see
So,
who it was.
yeah. First thing we did was go to Pirates because it was only a 10-minute posted wait. We waited 12 minutes. We were off at 4:45. I will say a lot of times the posted wait times are longer than it actually was. This trip, we found that they were actually tended to be shorter than the actual wait ended up being, or like exactly the same as the wait time. And then we went on Big Thunder. I did end up getting Wait Magic. I didn't talk about that in the pre-trip. But since our lightning lanes were really not what we wanted when we booked them, we decided it was worth it. I actually paid for it for the year because we have another trip planned and it ended up being pretty much worth it. So we did use Wait Magic. So we were able to go on Big Thunder. This was our first time going on since it was updated. Very fun. It wasn't as fast as I remembered. So if you like fast roller coasters, ask to sit in the back. The only note I made was it was so loud. I feel like it had always been loud, but I work in ABA, so I work with kids with autism, and I was like, this is so unnecessarily loud. So if you are traveling with anyone who is sensitive to loud noises, just beware before you get on that ride. But the effects were very cool. And then Cody decided he was going to trade pins this trip. So we did go to the pin store that's right there in Frontierland. And they were doing the square dancing show. I don't know if it's scheduled or happens randomly, but it was a bunch of cast members. The Country Bears were there, Chippendale, Clarabelle, and Horace were there. And this was around 5 o'clock. And I felt so bad because the cast members were profusely sweating, but it was such a cute show. But yeah, I don't know if it's a scheduled thing or if we just got lucky.
It's called the Frontierland Hoedown. And
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
it's not announced, but it usually happens around 5 or 5:30, which is exactly
Okay, yeah.
your
So,
experience.
we got there at 5 and it had probably just started, but it was already going.
Mhm.
So that was very cute. We watched it for a little bit, but it was too hot to watch the whole thing, but they got the families involved and we liked watching it. And then we ended up getting a lightning lane for Haunted Mansion. So we got online at 5:22. We were off at 5:46. There is still the scrim up. I don't know if that's going to be staying up the whole time they're doing construction for cars and everything, but it was still up.
Nobody
And then,
knows.
yeah, we went to Memento Mori. And then we decided to walk over to Space Mountain because it was posted as 20 minutes. So we walked all the way over there, but the line was very much out the door. So I don't know if everybody saw that it was 20 minutes and then ran over there, or if that's just what the 20-minute line actually looks like. But only me and Cody were going to go on. So we were like, never mind, we're not going to do it. So we ended up each getting a snack at this time. So Tiffany got a Coke slush. I got a Mickey pretzel. Cody got the Space Ranger float from Anti-Gravities, and then we all met in Cosmic Rays so we could get some air conditioning, and we all ate our snacks in Cosmic Rays. Getting a table in Cosmic Rays, it was hard, but not as bad as some other places. I do not like hovering over people,
Mhm.
but you pretty much have no choice in Disney World. If you see someone is like starting to leave, you have to stand right there or someone else will beat you to it. So I really didn't like having to do that, but you really are left no other choice. But we ended up sitting in Cosmic Rays, having those snacks. The float that Cody had, if you like key lime, was amazing. Would recommend. And then we also shared the Buffalo Ranch chicken strips from Cosmic Rays, and those were delicious. So then we left there. We went on Mad Tea Party. We got online at 7. We were off by 7:09. So that was fun. We love that one. It's like there's never a wait and it's just fun. And then we walked in front of the castle. We took some pictures and then we had a Beak Barrel reservation for 7:35. So we ate, went on the teacups, and then ate again, which was an interesting trio there. But in the pre-trip, I know I said I thought Beak Barrel would be a one and done. I actually don't think it was. We really liked it. So we did share a table, but they were chill. We didn't really talk, but they were chill. We
But
shared a couple
which
sentences.
room were you in?
We asked to be in the main room.
Okay.
We were in that main room right where the parrot is and everything. And then we were sitting, thank goodness, because I would not have been I totally forgot that you don't sit sometimes.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh my goodness." I was like, "That would have stung." But we were sitting. This is the best water you can get at Disney. They're in these, like, chilled cups,
Mhm.
and we chugged a few each. The waiter probably did not love us because we only ordered the corn griddle cake with Chipotle chicken, which was delicious. I feel like I've seen a lot of not great things about the food, but we all loved that. And
Mhm.
then Cody ordered a non-alcoholic drink, the Treasure Trove, which came with, like, a cake pop and chocolate and, like, 3 pieces of caramel popcorn, but that was really good too. And then we just chugged some water. But we liked it. It was a good place to take a break. It was pretty cool in there. So we did that. And then it was time for our Winnie the Pooh lightning lane, which was from 8 to 9. So we headed over there. We went on Winnie the Pooh. And then we had a Mine Train individual lightning lane. So we got online for that at 8:50. We were off at 8:58. And we had a party of 3. So one of us had to ride with somebody that we didn't know pretty often, but we really rode with some lovely people during this trip. People just tend to be so nice at Disney. So this was one of those instances where my brother ended up sitting with a woman who was there with her kids, and she was just so sweet that they just honestly made the ride even better. And then we walked to Main Street for Starlight. We didn't it was pretty crowded at this parade. It was the first parade of the night. So we ended up just standing kind of behind a garden near the Tomorrowland Bridge, and we could still see fine, but it wasn't as crazy over there until the last, like, 2 minutes of the parade, and then people started to kind of shove in, but we did that, and then we were walking to Main Street to get a spot for Happily Ever After, and then Tiffany was like, "Can we sit and watch the fireworks?" And I was like, "You know what? Let's see." So on a previous trip report, someone had talked about sitting at the plaza,
Mhm.
and at this point, it wasn't that long before the fireworks. It was maybe 9:30, and we got very lucky. So we were walking past the plaza as she said that, and there was a table that was open that had just opened up, so we were able to snag that, and that was a great spot to watch the fireworks. If you're not in those first, like, 2 rows of tables against the fence, you can't really see the top of the castle, but we got kind of that second row there, and we were able to see. And I was like, "We got this for free." And then I, like, looked over at the Tomorrowland Terrace where it's expensive to sit there, and I was like, "I feel like you have almost the same view, and we got this for free." So, obviously, you have to kind of get lucky, but that is definitely a great spot to watch if you do get lucky. So, I got a milkshake from the plaza, Cody got Casey's Corner, and then we got to sit and watch Happily Ever After, which was fantastic.
And
This
Tink flies over that.
He did. She flew right over, so that was super cute. We ended up doing so much research about that because we were so interested, but yes, Tank flew right over there. And then this started just a tip. I recommend bringing your own straw to Disney World because they do paper straws, which is great. But if you're getting anything that is frozen at all, they really don't work. So, like, we had this problem a couple of times where we had a paper straw and then we ended up like trying to sip through two straws. And we just said from now on, we're going to bring one of like the keychain straws. So, that's just a good thing to keep in mind. But happily ever after it ended, we cried. And then we walked over to Buzz Lightyear. We did have a lightning lane. Weight Magic was able to get us a lightning lane for 9:55 to 10:55. However, we got over there and the ride was down. They didn't know how long it was going to be down. So then me and Cody had a lightning lane for Space Mountain. So we went over and we rode that. And then at this point, we had like 5 minutes until lightning lanes were done because the park regular hours were done at 11. So we booked it back to Buzz and we were able to get on. It was back up with our lightning lane. We loved all of the improvements that they made. Way more fun. Our scores were way better. And then extended evening hours officially started. I did not do proper research. So I was like, oh, we were putting off Tiana's and we were putting off People Mover. And I was like, we could just do them later. Neither of those are open during extended evening hours. So at this point, me and Tiffany were really tired. So we decided we were just going to go back. So we left and we were on a bus around midnight. Cody, however, decided to stay. So he stayed by himself. He went on Small World, Little Mermaid, Haunted Mansion, and then he waited about 40 minutes for Tron, pretty close to closing. So he did not get back to the room until I think it was like 2:30 a.m. So we left at 5:45 a.m. He did not get back until 2 a.m. But we didn't even hear him come back. We were way out by then.
Yes. Oh, you had been up almost 24 hours at that point.
Yeah. So that was the end of that day.
Okay. Sounds like a really, really good birthday and
Yes.
a really good first day. Can you talk a little bit about your room at Animal Kingdom Lodge?
Yes. So the room was very nice. We had just the regular studio. They aren't currently getting updated. So if you're staying more than a few months from now, you'll probably have an updated room. But right now they are not. So Cody had to sleep on a pull-out bed, which a lot of people do not like. He's 20 and he's in college, so he didn't really care. But if you're not 20 and in college, it might not be the most comfortable thing. So just keep that in mind. The only other thing we didn't like about the room was that there wasn't a ton of like countertop space to be putting things. But other than that, we loved it. We loved our balcony. I bought binoculars, so we would go out on the balcony and we would use the binoculars and we would look at the animals. So we had a ton of fun doing that. I love animals, so that was right up our alley. They were baby, I'm going to forget what they're called, but they were the animals with the very, very big horns. And there was a group of, I think, 5 of them, and they would just always follow each other in like a single file line. And they came like right over to our window a few times.
I was trying to remind myself what all the animals were called over
Mhm.
there.
Yeah,
They,
the same.
the Oncoli
Yes,
cattle.
I think, yes, that's what they're called.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. For
Yeah.
anybody that wants to know, I guess that's it.
Our room was we asked for zebra trail. So our room was about halfway down the hallway from the lobby to where the end of the hallway was. And it was overlooking is it Ashura Savannah on that side? The main Savannah. So we could see like the lobby lookout from there. And we pretty much could always see animals. However, I did learn that the animals, I didn't confirm this, but when I say I learned this, I mean I listened to somebody telling it to someone else on their balcony. But apparently the animals are not out from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., which seemed to track because we never saw them in the morning when we went out there in the morning. But they were out there throughout the night, so it was pretty cool to come back at night and then see the animals in the dark. And yeah, we really love the room there. But definitely we'll love it more when it's updated and there's actually two beds.
And if I recall correctly, you guys arrived right around noon, so the animals must have just come out.
Yeah, they must have. Mhm.
All right, so the next day was Thursday, July 16th, and you had plans to start the day at Epcot.
Yes, that is what we did. So we did sleep in a bit because we had, and by a bit, I mean Disney sleep in. So we were on the bus to Epcot at 9:58 a.m. and then we were in Epcot by 10:24. I know people don't stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge because it is only buses, but we pretty consistently had good luck with the buses. So I will say, although it is only buses, they were pretty efficient. The only time anyone had a problem was Cody coming back from extended evening hours, but it was also past 2 a.m. So we'll give them some grace there. But when we got into Epcot, Daisy was right there. So we decided we wanted to meet Daisy. So we waited 10, 15 minutes. We met her, and then we ended up having a Soarin' Lightning Lane. It was not initially for this time, but Wait Magic was able to modify it. So we used that at 10:50. We did have to wait a bit of time. I find there's always a bit of a wait for this, even with a Lightning Lane. So we did wait a bit, but we enjoyed it. It was the Soarin' Across America still, which we enjoyed because it was something different, but it was not as good as the regular Soarin'. The transition.
But what is regular Soarin' to you?
When I was a kid, it was Soarin', what is it? Soarin' over California?
California.
Yeah, and then but now it's Soarin'. Is it Around the World? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, Soarin' Around the World. Mhm.
Yes, because regular to me is California, but regular to a lot of people is
Yeah.
around the world.
But we enjoyed it. It just you could tell the amount of effort put into it was not the same as the amount of effort with the other versions,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still fun. And then we ended up going on Figment after that. We were able to grab a Lightning Lane, so we did that. We probably didn't need one, but we were done. We rode Figment, and then we met Figment, so we were done in there around 12 o'clock. And then we're not normally people who meet characters, but I don't know what happened this morning, but we spent so much time meeting characters and we loved it. So then there was the Chip and Dale pass holder meet and greet right there when we got off at Figment. So we were like, you know what? Let's just go do it. We did not realize Cody wouldn't be able to come because everybody in the party has to have an annual pass. So me and Tiffany were able to go in, but they wouldn't let Cody in. So he just went back to the Figment shop real quick. We only waited maybe 5 minutes to see them. So we saw Chip and Dale, and then we had our Frozen Lightning Lane. So we headed over to World Showcase. Our Lightning Lane was from 10:50 to 11:50. We didn't actually ride until 12:45, but that was not a problem. And then we went to Kringla Bakery in Norway. We got the school bread. Well, Tiffany got the school bread. I got the lefse. I don't know if that's how you say it, but it's like a flatbread with cinnamon sugar and butter. Cody got the Norwegian Kringla, and then we shared the Kristoff Kaff, which is the coffee there. Everything was good, just some of it was specifically what I got, the flatbread and the sugar was so sweet. So we only ended up taking a couple bites of that. But we did that, and then Cody really wanted to show Tiffany DuckTales. So we went over to Mexico and he did the DuckTales game with her using, what is it, Play Disney.
Mhm.
He loves that stuff. My brother is 20, but he will always be my baby brother, and he still is very much a kid at heart. So he still loves all that stuff. So they did that in Mexico, and then we walked through the shop in China, and then we did end up going to the beer garden. So we had a reservation at 2:10. We didn't realize, but we timed it very well with the show. The show happens every hour and 15, like on the hour and 15 minutes. So the show was happening at 2:15. Our reservation was at 2:10, so we got there perfect timing to see the show.
Mhm.
Our waitress here was amazing. The service was fantastic. The food was either okay or good, but nothing was bad. There's very mixed reviews about this. We also were not seated with other people. We did get our own table.
That was gonna be my next question. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
hmm We got our own table. We were right against the stage. And then, yes, we all really enjoyed it. We were there actually for quite a long time because our reservation was at 2:10. We didn't actually leave until 3:25. So we really kind of took our time in there. We saw the one show and then the next show had started when we were leaving. But yeah, we all enjoyed that. I don't know that I would go without the 40% off though. Just based off of how much we all ate, it still came out. We each got the buffet, and then I shared like the smaller size of the Schafferhofer beer with Tiffany, and everything came to split three ways, like $50 a person still with tip. So I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, if we didn't have the 40% off, I probably wouldn't do it, but it was really fun with that, and it was something new for us. So after that, we ended up right up we went backwards, so we didn't keep going through World Showcase, we had a test track Lightning Lane. So we that way Magic got us. So we ended up walking over there. We got online at 3:49. We didn't have to wait very long and we rode that. I didn't think I liked test track, but I think that's because last time me and Tiffany went on and the sound stopped working after mm, maybe the first 2 rooms, so we were just kind of in test track in silence, but once everything was working, it was very fun, so I do, turns out, like test track.
I do think about that. Like, last time I was on Spaceship Earth, it stopped 20 times, and the people in my
Mhm.
ride vehicle had never been on it, and I was like, "Oh, they
Mm.
don't get to see what it's supposed to be like."
Yeah, and that was our first time on the new version, and that was our impression of it, so I was like, but when it's
Yeah.
all working, it was very cool.
Yeah.
And then we walked around Creations, and then we attempted to ride Guardians. It was, I think, posted at 70 minutes. By the time we walked over there, it was posted at 80 minutes. This was around 4:55, and then we waited online maybe 5, 10 minutes, and the line did not move at all. We checked the app, and suddenly it was 105 minutes. So we were like, It's fine. We'll ride at a different time." So we ended up leaving, me and Tiffany, and then Cody stayed because he wanted to go in the Japan shop. He loves the Japan shop, and I know that he will take at least an hour in there. So I was like, you know what? You go do that now so that next time we go, you don't need the whole hour. So he went and he did that. And then we headed back to the resort. Our bus driver, I guess, was just starting his shift, so he was waiting for the bus with us, and he made our whole bus ride. He was hilarious, cracking jokes, and then he took over. So that was a very fun bus ride back. And then we were back to the resort at 5:52, and then Cody came maybe an hour or so later, which
He really spent an hour
he
in Japan?
really did. Mhm.
Mhm.
So we grabbed some chicken fingers, we watched the animals on the balcony, and then we did have our level 99 reservation. There's a lot I need to say about this experience. So part of this was our fault because we took too much time at Epcot and we ended up making a 9:15 level 99 reservation. They close at 11. So we Ubered. We ended up Ubering to Disney Springs. This was one time we got to the bus. We saw it wouldn't be there for 20 or so minutes, and we were already on a bit of a time crunch. So we ended up just calling an Uber. We got to Disney Springs at 8:27. We really needed something from Sephora. We were actually out of foundation. So we ran into Sephora. The Sephora in Disney Springs is wild. There were a ton of people, but we were able to grab what we needed. And then we got to level 99 at 9:17. Our reservation was at 9:15. So we checked in and it took a second to like figure out the system. So basically, there's all of the rooms scattered throughout, and then each room is on average 3 minutes, like 2, 3, 4 minutes, it seemed like for each room. And we went to one room and we had to wait almost 10 minutes to go into that room. And then basically, it's really oversold. So I thought it was weird that every time was still available day of because I thought it would definitely sell out because it was at Disney Springs. But now I know it's not selling out because they're selling, in our opinion, way too many tickets for this. So we ended up getting there. We were like, we love this kind of stuff, especially me and Cody. But there was so much going on as soon as we walked in. And then after the first room where we waited about 10 minutes, I was like, okay, so we only have an hour and a half. It took us 10 minutes to get into one room. And then that room happened so fast that like it doesn't feel like worth waiting 10 minutes. So we found that we were just continuing to go and try to find rooms that didn't have lines, which was wasting time right there because then we're walking around trying to find rooms with no lines. And then also people were kind of weird about getting in line. So people were kind of like not cutting you when you're already in line, but almost like racing to get onto the line to be able to like scan to be next. So it was just a very overwhelming experience. So we did that. We ended up doing one more room. And at this point, we were there for almost a third of our time, and we were able to do 2 3-minute rooms. And we were tired. This was like after a long day. And we were like, I think it's not worth it. We were like, we're all stressed out because we're all exhausted. All we're doing, we're going to spend a majority of our time waiting on lines. It wasn't cheap. It was like $30 a person. So we were like, let's see if they will do anything or help us. And so we went back down and we asked them, we were like, hi, like, it's just really crowded. There's waits for everything. Is there any way we can just get tickets to come back a different time? And they did not even hesitate. So I feel like this is something that might be an ongoing issue.
Mm.
So they did not hesitate at all. They gave us vouchers to come back whenever. And then, yeah, we ended up leaving. And now at this point, we're all a little bit cranky because we were like, we could have done something else this night. Instead, we like rushed to come to Disney Springs to do this. And now Disney Springs is like almost closing and we didn't really do anything. So we waited online for Gideon's just because we wanted to definitely have those cookies to snack on. And then we headed back to the resort. And then at this point, I just kind of read the room and decided that we needed to change things up.
Not rope
So
drop?
yeah. So the next day was supposed to be Hollywood Studios and we were going to Rope Drop. We ended up switching that morning and what was supposed to be the morning after. So it ended up being very easy to switch things around. I was able to easily make the BOMA reservation for the next morning. And then since we weren't going to go to Hollywood Studios until nighttime, between me and Wait Magic, we were able to get good lightning lanes for that night, the next night at Hollywood Studios. So it was a pretty easy switch, and that was 100% the right thing to do. So even if you spend months planning your Disney trip, you may have to make a game time decision for the better of the
Yes.
group.
But it's all about knowing how to pivot,
Yeah.
not sticking to the plan. It would have been crazy at this point if you
Yeah.
had, I think.
Mhm.
Everybody sounds so tired.
Yeah. So that was, we were all, Cody was a little bit upset because he was like, I want to go. And I was like, we'll do it the next day. And then when the next day came, he was like, yeah, he's like, we needed to do this. He was like, I'm glad we did this.
Okay,
So,
then Friday, July 17th is gonna start off a little bit easier than expected.
yes. So I was able to make the BOMA reservation for 10:10. We also had our DVC tour scheduled for, I think it was 2 o'clock initially. So I went down to the DVC kind of station in Animal Kingdom Lodge. She said she would call them and try to switch it and to just come back up after breakfast to confirm, but she said it shouldn't be a problem. So we went to BOMA at 10:10. We loved the food here. One thing to know though is if you're someone like me and you get heartburn from things that are like acidic or spicy, bring Tums because I ended up after a plate of food running back up to the room and taking some Tums so that I can enjoy the rest of breakfast because there's just a lot of acidic or slightly spicy or tomato-based foods. So just keep that in mind if you are prone to acid reflux. But we all loved it here. The buffet was great. I would definitely go there again or try it for dinner too because that was very enjoyable. And then we finished up there at 11:47. So that was another long meal. We're all kind of yappers. So once we have time to just sit down and eat and talk, we don't even realize. And all of a sudden it's been an hour and a half. So we
Yes,
were
I mean,
there.
you've given 2 examples of that were both
Mhm.
buffets, so it wasn't about necessarily waiting for the food either.
Yeah, no, we're just yappers. So then we got changed. We went to the pool. The pool here was so nice. We went down the water slide. However, we only swam for about an hour because then there was a storm coming in and they closed the pool. But it ended up being kind of perfect timing because they closed the pool right when we had gotten out to go get drinks. So we ended up getting drinks and then we went and we saw the flamingos, which this was a moment where I was like, I can't believe that I'm at Disney World right now because we're at the pool and now I'm next to the pool with a drink looking at flamingos.
Mhm.
So that was a moment where I was like, yes, I love this resort. So we saw the flamingos. There were some little baby ducklings in there too. And then we ended up going back to the room while it rained. We watched some Big Brother. I don't know. Some people watch it, some people don't, but
I
we
me.
you watch it, really? It's so hard to find people who watch it. But yeah, so I was sipping my banana cabana. We were watching Big Brother in our room.
I'm gonna write it down and we'll talk about it in the after show.
Yeah, and it was so funny because my friends were texting me about it at while I was there. texting me about Big
There's
Brother.
there's so much to talk about.
And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "This is me right now." And I sent them a picture of me, like, laying in the bed in the room, holding my drink, watching Big Brother, and they were like, "Wow, Ashley, like, you know how to live." They were like, "You."
Mhm.
But we did that, and then the storm ended, and we took an Uber over to the Riviera for our DVC tour. Cody ended up going straight to Hollywood Studios. This ended up being super duper quick. So it was fun because I always wanted to see the rooms at Riviera. I think that's now like on my top place where I would like to stay. The actual tour was maybe took us 25 minutes because I feel like I already knew a lot about DVC. So it was just kind of touring the rooms and then getting a little bit more details and asking a couple questions that I had. We didn't intend to buy DVC, but Tiffany didn't know anything about it. And it's something I'm interested in doing eventually. So it was definitely worth it. But it took, yeah, maybe 25 minutes of our day. And then we each got a $100 gift card. So the tour was scheduled for 4 and we were on the Skyliner on our way to Hollywood Studios at 4:30. And then we
Okay, so you did go to Hollywood Studios. It's just not rope drop.
Yes, we did, and we had lightning lanes, we just did not rope drop it. So we were in Hollywood Studios at 4:40, and then we did some shopping, and we took advantage of PhotoPass. I did the PhotoPass add-on when I got my annual pass, and I never would use it on previous trips, but this trip, we pretty much only took pictures when we were doing PhotoPass,
Mhm.
or at least pictures of us. And then we had a Tower of Terror lightning lane. So this was one where I knew I wanted to go on. I knew Tiffany wasn't going to go on. Cody was a maybe. So we all went through the pre-show room together because I asked and they said Tiffany could just exit. When you go into the actual rows where you're going to sit on the ride, that's when anyone who's not riding can go through an exit there. You just go down an elevator. So we went there. Cody comes to board with me. I genuinely thought he was going to cry. I really thought he was going to dip. He like kept looking over at Tiffany. I thought he was going to run away, but he did not. He went on. Honestly, at this point, I was like, I felt bad because I was like, if he really doesn't like this, I'm going to feel bad. And he, on the way up, was just looking at me like, nope. And then he ended up loving it. So we finished. He was like, I love it. I want to do it again. I was like,
Mhm.
thank God. I was like, because I would have felt so bad. So he loved it, which made me very happy. We went to the gift shop there. He bought a Tower of Terror t-shirt now because now he's Tower of Terror's biggest fan. And
Mhm.
then we went on Rock and Roller Coaster. So same thing here. Me and Cody rode it. Tiffany was able to exit right when they were putting us into rows for the actual ride. So we went on that. We loved that. It does bang your head a little bit, I will say, that one. I love a roller coaster, but I don't like when my head bangs on roller coasters, and that one, I had to, like, kinda hold myself tight for
Mhm.
that one because it does bang your head a little bit. But Cody is a huge Muppets fan, so he loved that. And then we were trying to go to the villain show because I mentioned one of the hooks is my sister's best friend. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that on here, but we are friends with Hook. But we were not able to get to the 6:30 show. We got there maybe 5 minutes before, and they told us that it was full and to come back like 20 minutes before the next show, which was at 7:10. So we decided to just each grab a snack. So we grabbed a kid's pizza from, I'm forgetting the name right now, but there's the place right over on Sunset Boulevard.
There's so
And then
many little
yeah,
places.
we just mobile ordered that. Cody waited online because there was a drink he wanted from the new Muppets food stands near Rock and
Mhm.
Roller Coaster, and then we just ate that, and we went to the 7:10 villain show. We did get there probably, like, 15, 20 minutes early, and it was probably necessary, so if you wanna see that show, definitely get there. It's not one you can just walk into a minute before. So, we loved that show, that was our first time seeing that, that was fun. Maleficent won, which I think is what happens a majority of the time. I think part of it is order. She's just goes last, so she's fresh in everyone's minds, but then everybody also loves Maleficent, so she did win.
Mhm.
And then we went over for dinner at Docking Bay 7. So this is where Cody really wanted to eat. Tiffany got a Ronto wrap. Cody got the pot roast, which for a Disney quick service was amazing. That was really good. And then I got the hot chicken, which, just so anyone knows, is delicious, but it is definitely spicy. Like, it not Disney spicy. It was like spicy, spicy. But the flavor was very good. We also got the Black Calf cold brew, which is at the one of the stands in the marketplace right there. And we ate that. And then we actually did end up getting an individual lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance. Just the lines were not, even though it was July, the lines actually were pretty long on a lot of the days here, except for like first thing in the morning. The lines tended to be pretty long. So we ended up
And
getting,
you did you buy that just on this day, the Rise of Resistance, single pass?
yes, I'm pretty sure we bought it earlier in the day. I think we bought it in between, yeah, right before we went to Hollywood Studios.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good to know that it was available.
Yes. Now, this is where our day was going really well. We had a little mishap here because we did have a lightning lane for Toy Story Mania and Smuggler's Run, but we all really wanted to go on Slinky. So at this point, it was a little after 9, and Slinky was a 50-minute wait. And we were like, you know what? It's Fantasmic. The second Fantasmic show wasn't until 10:30, so we decided let's just ride Slinky instead. So we got online at 9:16, and then it was 10 o'clock, and we still had a ways to go. So, the 50 minutes, I don't know what happened. They made an announcement that your wait was going to be longer. The ride was still running, but it was loading very slowly. So, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but we ended up getting offline at 10:03. So, we waited the full pretty much 50 minutes. We weren't even close. So, we decided we didn't want to miss Fantasmic, so we got offline. But we were a little bummed because we skipped 2 lightning lanes to go on Slinky, and then we didn't end up going on anything. But we did go to Fantasmic for the 10:30 show. If you can make it to 10:30, see the second show of Fantasmic because it was really only the middle section that people were sitting in. We had personal space. We had a perfect head-on view right in the middle, like towards like not at the bottom because we didn't want to sit at the bottom, but we had very, very great seats. And then getting out of Fantasmic was the easiest it's ever been because getting out of there can take a very long time. But
Mhm.
we were able to walk right out and we took the bus back to the resort. I did end up stopping at the front desk. I find at Disney, if you are nice, they will usually help you if something happens. So I just kind of explained to her, I was like, hey, like we had 2 nights now. I was like, none of it's your fault, but we had this happen at level 99. And then today we had this happen at Slinky. Like, is there anything that you're able to do just to kind of make up some of that time? And she ended up just refunding me for my lightning lanes that day. Not the Rise of the Resistance, but for our multi-pass because we had only actually used 2 of them. So they ended up just refunding us the multi-pass. So that was very helpful there. But yes, other than that though, we had a great day. And I was like, you know what? Can't hurt to ask. It's not like it ruined our day or anything, but the customer service at Disney is good. So I was like, let's just nicely ask. And they did do something to help us out. So that was nice.
I'm glad they were able to help you in some ways.
hmm
Okay. So they did that, but did you say that's not it?
That is not it. I'll get into that the next day.
Okay. The next day was Saturday, July 18th. So you had changed your plans around. So how did this day end up going?
We did. So this the day that we did the wheel? Yes, it was. Okay. So we started off at Magic Kingdom. So we decided we were going to rope drop this day. So we did get there for early entry at 8:30 and we went right to Peter Pan. We were going to rope drop Mine Train, but the wait ended up seeming pretty long and we wanted to do a double rope drop. We wanted to rope drop something and then rope drop Frontierlands when it opened to go on Tiana's. So we decided we're not going to do Mine Train. We went to Peter Pan instead. We entered the queue. So we got online right at 8:30. The queue opened at 8:36 and then the line didn't actually start moving until 8:44. So it seemed like the ride didn't actually start running until 8:44. So I'm not sure what exactly happened, but the queue for that ride is so great. I feel like I don't see it a lot because I'm usually doing a lightning lane, but honestly, the queue is amazing. And I always walk by that ride and I'm like, the line is so long, it's not worth it. But then I was like, actually, the queue is pretty cute. It kind of is worth it just to go through the queue. But we got off of that and then we walked right over to Tiana's and literally walked right on. So we were on Tiana's at 9:07. And then we went right from Tiana's to Big Thunder. It was a 10-minute wait. We pretty much walked right on. We didn't really stop walking until the part where you get to the ramps, right before they split you into the tracks. So that was a very short wait. And then it was about 10 at that point, and we had already hit 3 major attractions, so we were happy. And then we saw Tron was a 50-minute posted wait. So we decided we were going to take that time to do that because I think I said this on the pre-trip, but that's one where I just can't justify buying an individual lightning lane. If you have the money, sure, do it. But we were trying to be a little bit on a budget. So we were like, we can't spend 20 something dollars for a 1 minute ride. So me and Cody decided to go on Tron. It was posted at 50 minutes. It was pretty much 50 minutes. It takes a while. Don't be discouraged because when you're outside, the line moves very slowly and it seems like it's going to be super long. But then once you get inside, it moves pretty quickly. So we were off of that at 10:59. So total online to offline was about an hour. And then Tiffany, during that time, she went to Main Street, went in the Emporium, bought a shirt that she wanted. And then we went to the shop right outside of Tron. We bought some freeze-dried s'mores, which they have a lot of the freeze-dried things over there, and we like trying those. So we got the freeze-dried s'mores. Honestly, great snack. It was funny because we were paying, and the cashier was like, "What is this?" She was like, "Enjoy your strange snack." She was like, and we did. Cody bought one of like 7 blind boxes that he bought on this trip. There are now blind boxes just for sale everywhere, and he loves them. So, yes, I think he bought at least 7 of them, we counted. And then after that, we walked right onto the People Mover. And then at this point, the lines were starting to build. So we did not have lightning lanes this day. We didn't want to pay for Magic Kingdom lightning lanes, but we did end up buying them later in the day when we park hopped because they were cheaper for where we park hopped to. But we went on the People Mover, and then Cody really wanted to go to Skipper Canteen. It's one of his favorite restaurants at Disney. So we ended up being able to go right on the wait list, which was 10 minutes, and our table was ready pretty much immediately. So we went there. We shared the cachapas appetizer, which was very similar to like the corn cakes and the chicken that we had at Beak Barrel. We all loved that. And then me and Tiffany shared the chicken, and Cody got the pork. And then they also gave us another little birthday dessert there, and everybody loved their food there. Pretty much anywhere you go when it's your birthday in Disney, you will get a birthday dessert. Even if it is a buffet and you absolutely cannot eat a birthday dessert, they will still bring you an extra dessert. So we did do that. We enjoyed that. And then we rode the Little Mermaid. That was a walk on. We took some pics with our photo pass at the castle. Cody got a LeFou brew from Gaston's. And then we decided it was time to head out. We were stuffed at this point from Skipper Canteen, but we weren't sure if we were going to come back to Magic Kingdom, and we just had to have cheeseburger spring rolls. So we decided we were going to suffer and eat them because we just had to eat them. So we were walking over there, and then the band was out playing. And I have never seen this before, but the band was playing, and then Mickey came out in like a marching band outfit, and he was dancing with them. And I don't know how long that had been going on for, but I had never seen that, and that was super cute. So we watched that for a few minutes. We got our cheeseburger spring rolls, and we ate those just on the way to the bus. And then we took the bus back to the room for a quick break. And then it was time to spin the wheel. So,
Yes, I'm excited to hear about this. So, what was the first spin of your wheel?
so I will say this as a planner was hard for me. It was fun,
Yes.
but it was so hard. So we ended up changing it just a little bit to where we ended up spinning the wheel while we were still at the resort to find out what park we were going to and also the first ride. So just so that we could try to at least be a little strategic. So we spun the wheel and we got Animal Kingdom, which we were very excited about because it was not on our regular schedule. So we were all ready to go. And we were like, you know what? We were like, let's spin it and see what ride we get. And we spin it and we got Cali River Rapids. And that was just an immediate no from from everyone. Cali River Rapids is fun, but if that was our first ride of the evening, we were not trying to be soaking wet for the rest of the evening. So we were allowing vetoes with a unanimous vote, and that was a very quick unanimous no from everyone. So we spun again and we got Choice Ride. We decided we were going to do Everest, and we decided we were going to do Single Rider because Tiffany wasn't going to go on. So we ended up getting to Animal Kingdom around 4 o'clock. So we did take a little bit of a break, got to Animal Kingdom at 4 o'clock. We spun, we did Everest. Me and Cody love Everest. So Single Rider was very short. We waited maybe 5 minutes. And then we spun again. We got Gift Shop because that was one of our choices. So we love the gift shops in Animal Kingdom. So we just walked around the ones that are near the Tree of Life. And then we spun while walking to the gift shop to find out what to do next. And we got Navi. So we were like, you know what? We are like, maybe we can do the wheel and still use lightning lanes. Maybe. And the lightning lanes for Animal Kingdom are the cheapest. So we were like, let's just get them. So we ended up getting lightning lanes, and with Weight Magic, they were able to snag us a lightning lane while we were shopping. So we ended up getting a lightning lane for Navi at 450. So we were able to go on that. And then we spun again while in line for Navi so that we could kind of like, if we knew we wanted a lightning lane, we were able to at least try to get a lightning lane using Weight Magic, but we ended up getting a snack. So we love the pulled pork fries that are at Flame Tree Barbecue. It's like the barbecue pulled pork fries. So we went over there, but after we spun snack, we were like, let's spin again, find out what we're doing after the snack so that we could try to get a lightning lane. So it was like we were doing it, but the planner in me needed to at least
Yeah.
try to do it efficiently.
Yeah.
So, and we all really did like this. I would do this again, but we ended up getting park hop, which we were like, you know what? We were like, it's okay, we'll park hop. We got to follow the wheel. So we got Hollywood Studios because we spun, we got park hop, and then we spun again for the park, and we got Hollywood Studios. So it worked out that we bought the lightning lane for Animal Kingdom because we used one, and now we could use them at Hollywood Studios, but they were cheaper for Animal Kingdom.
Hmm.
So we had our pulled pork fries, and then we park hopped over to Hollywood Studios. We got there around 5:40. When we found out we were going to Hollywood Studios, we spun to find out what we were doing at Hollywood Studios. We got Mickey and Minnie's, and again, Weight Magic was able to grab us something for 550.
And you hadn't done that one previously, I don't think.
No, we hadn't done it yet.
Okay.
So yeah, in about the hour, a little over an hour that Weight Magic had to find something, it did, which was nice. So we went on that. It was interesting because the bus rules tend to be different depending on who you get. I don't like to eat on the bus, but sometimes you just have to. So the day before, we were eating like a full, like loaded tater tots meal on the bus. And then this day, I tried to walk on the bus with an Alani, and she told me not to open it on the bus. So it seems to be very different with whether or not you are allowed to eat or drink on the bus, which I get. You don't want the buses to be dirty, but I just thought I was like, it's just an Alani, but she did not want me opening it on the bus. So we went on Mickey and Minnie's. We were off that at 6:04. And then we decided to take the time to look at the celebrity handprints that are all outside the Chinese theater there. I feel like that's not something I really do, but we had a lot of fun. They have some, so if you don't know, they used to have, I'm sure you know, but for anyone listening, if you don't know, they used to have celebrities come and they would do the whole handprint ceremony like they do at the actual Chinese theater in LA. And they put their handprints, they write their name in the cement. So like some people we found, there was Michael Jackson, there was Betty White, Audrey Hepburn. And then we were looking some of them up and we found out the Audrey Hepburn one, she was never asked to do it at the real Chinese theater in LA. So when she was doing it in Disney, they noticed that she was like emotional and they were like, what's going on? And she was like, oh, nobody ever asked me to do this before. So she did it at Disney. And then after that story got out, the actual Chinese theater asked her to do it there in LA, and she actually turned it down because she said her handprints were already where they needed to be. So
That's a sweet story.
We thought that was a cute story.
Did you see
So-
the character handprints over in the new like animation courtyard space?
We actually never made it over there, which is sad
Okay.
because I wanted to. But there were some character handprints in this space too. I don't know if it was the voice actors or if it was just the characters, but there
Yeah,
were some.
it's like a fake pretend one over there. It's like
Yeah.
the characters, Mickey, Minnie.
Yeah. So we spun again. We got snack. I really wanted to try the pepperoni spring rolls, so we're just going multiple spring rolls on this day. So I wanted to try the pepperoni spring rolls in Toy Story, and then Cody decided to get a grilled cheese from Woody's Lunchbox, so we got those, and then we went to get a table at Woody's Lunchbox. They had just expanded this area, but it is still not enough tables. So we ended up just getting a standing table, eating that. And then we had also spun before this and got Toy Story Mania, and we were able to get a lightning lane for that. So I think we spun while we were going on Mickey and Minnie's. We got snacks, so then we spun again so we could try to get the lightning lane. We saw it was Toy Story Mania, so we got that lightning lane. Then next we spun and we got Smuggler's Run. That one I was actually able to get a lightning lane for myself. I don't even think we needed Weight Magic. It seemed that those were almost always available, Smuggler's Run, surprisingly.
Mhm.
So we did that. It was the new, like, Mandalorian mission, so that was very fun. Me and Cody were pilots, Tiffany was a gunner, and then we spun again. We got choice, so we decided we were going to do Tower of Terror because now Cody loved it and wanted to go on again. So Tiffany we were walking towards Tower of Terror. Oh, I skipped one. We went on Smuggler's Run, then we got drink. So while we were getting a drink, we spun, got Tower of Terror. We were able to get a lightning lane for that. So Cody got blue milk. We shared that a bit. We went on Tower of Terror. As we were walking to Tower of Terror, Tiffany's like, "Where can I go that's air conditioned?" And it ended up working out perfectly because the Little Mermaid show was starting in like 4 minutes. We were passing it. So she was able to walk right into there. So unlike the villain show, seems like you don't really need to show up early for Little Mermaid. So she went right in there. We went on Tower of Terror. She loved the Little Mermaid show. She said it was super cute and she would see it again. We didn't end up seeing it this trip, but now that's on the list for next trip. So she loved that. And then we met back up. We spun. We got gift shop. So we spun again. While we were going to the gift shop, we got Slinky. Or no, that's a lie. We did not spin. The gift shop was our last spin. I'll explain the Slinky thing in a second. So we went to the gift shops that are all on Sunset Boulevard. I ended up getting the same shirt that Cody had got for Tower of Terror because it was very cool. She said it was actually viral and hard to find. So the cashier there. So it was really cute. It was like Mickey looking into the elevator. It was adorable. So Slinky, I forgot to mention, while we were at Magic Kingdom earlier in the day, and I was like, "You know what?" I was like, "I really would like to go on Slinky." I was like, "So I'm gonna see if they're able to do anything." So I ended up asking her at was it at Magic? Yes, it was at Magic Kingdom. I was like, "Hi, we didn't get to go on Slinky. Like, this is what happened. Is there any way we can get to ride it later in our trip?" So she ended up adding an anytime lightning lane for Slinky. So we did get to use that on this day. So that was the last thing we did at Hollywood Studios because we wanted to go on at night. That ride is superior at night. So we did use it this day. We went on Slinky. That was great. And then we had a Wailulu bar and grill reservation. So
That is on the list.
yes. So we took a bus to the Polynesian. Something very that I thought was very interesting is that the Contemporary and Polynesian share buses, at least coming from the park. And I thought that that was a very interesting choice on Disney's part because it's not like they're next to each other, but they're really not right next to each other. So it added probably like almost 15 minutes to have to stop at Contemporary, drop everyone off, and then drive over to Polly's. So we were like, "Oh, we're making great time. We'll be right on time." And then we ended up being like just a couple minutes late, but a little bit late because of the amount of time it took to go to the Contemporary before Polynesian. And I was like, I understand maybe like the Port Orleans Resort sharing a bus or like the All Stars. I was like, but this one really is not making sense to me. And like, these are not cheap resorts. You're paying a
No,
pretty penny. So
I
I was
don't
like,
I don't think they should share. And
no.
also, another thing is I wonder, you know how, you were staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge and they had the 2 bus stops? It makes me wonder if Polynesian doesn't need that itself because the tower. Because once you got to Polynesian, you had to walk.
Yes.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So if there had been another stop, kinda like at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you would have been dropped off at the tower.
Yes. So I like would not stop talking about it the whole bus ride. If anyone next to me was listening, I'm sorry because I probably seemed so annoying. But I was just like, I was like, just really trying to figure it out in my head. I was like, this makes no sense.
Mhm.
So we thought that was interesting, but we went to Wailulu. Our reservation was at 9:30 because we wanted to see the fireworks. And you cannot really see that great out the window while the lights are on because there's a reflection, but they do dim them for the fireworks. We loved Wailulu. Our 2 waiters were amazing. They were so nice. I ended up getting an espresso martini, which was like one of the best ones I've had. That's like my go-to thing right now. They were great. I think Cody and Tiffany both got virgin pina coladas. Tiffany's funny because we don't really drink that much at home, but she loves pina coladas. So she ended up just getting virgin pina coladas because it costs like $10 more to add alcohol. So she was on a virgin pina colada kick this trip. We did that. We got for the appetizer, the sticky pork ribs, which were like the best ribs I ever had. We all loved those. I got the burger, Tiffany got the garlic shrimp noodles, and Cody got the fish of the day, which was like a fish and a curry sauce. All of the food was amazing. We saw Happily Ever After. They pipe in the music, they dim the lights, and it was great there. The only thing was that afterwards we tried to Uber back, and I remember getting an email from Disney telling me something about road work, but we tried to order an Uber and it kept being like a minute away and then all of a sudden being 10 minutes away. And we went through, I think, like 2 or 3 different drivers and we were like, we were like, that's not going to happen. So we ended up just walking over to the main Polynesian and we were able to easily get an Uber from there. So that was, if you're going anytime soon, that might happen to you. So just keep that in mind because that was probably like a half hour or so process to finally figure out how to get an Uber.
I have used minivans for that purpose because I feel like they know how to get through some of those more tricky spaces
Yeah.
more than the Ubers. Sometimes the Ubers just aren't allowed. So, but
Yeah.
minivans aren't cheap. So.
Yeah, that was their thing. I was like, "Mm." Cody was kind of the Uber guy this trip, so but I didn't wanna make him do that. So we walked over, and then it was no problem once we got over there. But that was the end of that day.
Okay. The next day was Sunday, July 19th, and you were changing resorts.
We were, yes. So we slept in this day. For breakfast, I had mentioned the loaded tots before. So at the Mara, they had this dish and it was like these loaded tater tots. It had like sausage gravy and then it had another sauce on them. I don't know exactly what it was. Egg. It had all of these things on it. They were delicious. We got it like 2 or 3 times. So we got those and shared those for breakfast. We packed up and then we called an Uber to go over to Pop. While we were in our Uber, we got a text that the room was ready already, but we were in the 90s section. So I had requested to be in the 60s because there were a few trips where I stayed at Pop. We requested 60s in a standard view, and there was a section of the 60s that was considered standard view. So I went to the desk just to ask them about that, and they said that since the renovations, all of the 60s is now preferred. But I did ask them if there's anywhere closer we can be to the Skyliner just because the 90s is as far as you can possibly be. We're 90s babies, so it would have been cool, but it's as far as you can possibly be from everything. So they were able to switch us into a room in the 50s, and that room was also already ready. So we got lucky with that. That ended up being in a great location.
The
So we
only
went
thing good about the 90s is that it's close to the bus stops because it's
Yeah.
right on that end,
Mhm.
but it's nothing else.
Yeah, it's very far, and we knew we were gonna be taking the Skyliner a few times while we were there.
Mhm.
Like, let's just see if they'll switch.
Mhm.
I'm a big just ask person. My friends were talking about how they, like, do challenges where it's, like, that they saw, like, online or something where it's like, "Oh, like, the challenge is to just ask things." Like, if you want something, just ask, and that challenge, I will always just ask. That challenge has nothing on me. I'm just a big asker.
You're inspiring me. I hardly ever ask, so
I
this
just
is good.
Yeah, if you're nice about it, like, I'm never disrespectful, I'm never blaming someone
Mhm.
who it's not their fault for something that's not their fault, but I just do it nicely, and
Mhm.
then the worst they could do is say no, the best they could do is you get what you ask for, so,
Mhm.
yeah, that's my, they're always like, "Ashley, you're so brave," and I'm like, "You gotta do what you gotta do," so it's
There are these rejection ones online too, where you for instance, go in Starbucks and ask if you can buy a tire. Like something that's a definite
Oh
no.
my god.
It's just a practice
Yeah.
rejection.
That's funny.
That's like a different level of asking.
Uh-huh. But yeah, like, at this point, we had the lightning lanes refunded, we were able to get the Slinky Dog lightning lane, and we were able to get a good location at Pop because you just ask nicely.
Mhm.
But yes, so we went to the room, we got a little bit settled in, we chilled for just a bit, and then we took the Skyliner over to Epcot, and we got there around 12:45. Something interesting this trip is I feel like my last few, you were only loaded with someone on the Skyliner if it was like park open or park closed, but that was not always the case here. Sometimes we had our own, sometimes we were with other people, which is no big deal, but I thought that that was interesting because that was not what they were doing my other trips.
Can be entertaining if you're loaded with people that don't know what they're doing.
Yes, or, like, there was one where we were with someone and they were from somewhere in the UK, and it was the girl's first trip, and she was asking me about lizards and all these things, so that was really cute too. But we got to Epcot, and we kinda did a divide and conquer again, so Tiffany went to get a table at La Patisserie in France because we wanted to sit somewhere air conditioned. I went to get fish and chips. Cody wanted something from Morocco, and then we were going to meet there. However, Tiffany waited the whole time we were doing that and was not able to get a table. She specifically waited right next to this one table. They got up, and the second they got up, somebody ran and took the table that she had been waiting for. So we were like, it's not even worth it. So we ended up just walking over to Morocco, and we got a table inside there. And it was perfect timing because then there was a downpour. So we were able to eat. The Moroccan bread in Morocco, a very underrated snack. It's like the stone-baked bread. It has 3 dips. That was delicious. We love the fish and chips. Cody got a wrap there. We ate that. We enjoyed that. The storm passed. And
Is this the
then
first rain that appeared during your trip?
there was the one when we were swimming.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
But so far at this point, rain had not affected our actual plans, really. But it was a quick rain. So it rains, and then we decided we were all going to go in the Japan shop because we hadn't gotten to look in there yet. Cody purchased more things. I purchased just some, like, they have these noodles that I love there that you can get at pretty much any Asian market, but there's not really one near us. So I just get them when I'm in Disney because they're only like $1 and something cents. So bought a couple of those. And then we saw Guardians was only a 50-minute wait. So we decided to take the friendship boat. So we took the friendship boat from Germany, I want to say is where the one stop is, and it brought us right over to Canada. So then it was a short walk from there over to Guardians. And it was pretty much exactly a 50-minute wait for that. Well, we got online at 2:42. We were in the pre-show at 3:05. But the pre-show takes a long time. So by the time we were actually off the ride, it had been about 50 minutes. Something I thought was interesting, I don't know if the pre-show was broken or if they have changed this, but spoiler alert if you haven't been on it. But the part where you're supposed to all go into the one, like, lighted up area and then things change did not happen. And I don't know if that's because people, now that they know which way to enter, have just made it too chaotic to where they can't do it anymore because it's not safe, or if it just wasn't working today. But that did not happen. And
I know
then,
they've been experimenting with changing up the pre-boarding process because they don't want it to be so predictable that
mm,
people like us that know where to go end up just, going to the same spot.
yeah,
So, yeah, I don't know if it was intentional or if it just was really broken, but
yeah. So we were at the part of the line where they divide you into your lane. And then while we had just maybe a couple ride vehicles before us, there was a boy who was in front of us. He was maybe like, I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 14. He was adorable. And he started talking to us and asking us questions about the ride because he said he was there with his mom and brother, but they weren't going to ride. So he was by himself. And he was like, yeah, I heard row 9 is the best. Like, da da da. Da. He's like, does it do this? Does it do this? Like, telling us about the rides he liked and didn't like. And we were like, do you want to just ride with us? We were like, we're going to ask for row 9. Like, we have 3 people. And he was like, yeah, I'll ride with you guys. We didn't realize that we totally messed up Disney's algorithm because when we got to the front of our lane, they were like, how many? And we were like, 4. And they're like, what? We're like, we have 4. And that's when we realized that when they divide you, it's by, I think, odd and even numbers.
uneven.
So we totally threw them off. So we ended up having to go wait to the side. We had to like let them load something, and then they loaded us into row 9. But it was so fun to ride with someone who had never ridden before. He was like so adorable. He like was giving us a thumbs up at the end. He was like, I love it. It was so fun.
That's
And
so cute.
then it was so adorable.
What song did you get?
We got Iran,
Mhm.
which we all thought was fun. But yeah, so that was fun. He made that even more fun because he was just living his best life over there. And then I think we went back and took a break after that because we knew we were going to come back at night. So yes, we took the Skyliner back. We took a bit of a break. I think, was this the World Cup? Yes. So Cody came back too and he watched the World Cup. And then we headed back. We got back around, we didn't give ourselves a ton of time. We got back around 7:45. So we kind of did like a speed run to do the things that we still wanted to do. So we, me and Tiffany shared the like orange creamsicle drink in France. And then Cody went to get ice cream there. He got the brioche bun ice cream sandwich, which he loved. And then we were walking over because there's a perfume in Norway that smells so good. And I saw it honestly on TikTok. So I was like, and I smelt it the last day we were in Epcot, and I loved it. So I knew I wanted to buy that. And they do the annual pass holder discount, which I was honestly surprised because we looked up this perfume and the only place we could find it was Nordstrom, and they were selling it for the same price Disney was selling it without the discount. So,
Layla.
yes. So, I've worn it a couple times now and people keep commenting on it. So, if you want a good fragrance, check out Norway.
Mhm.
But,
And every time you wear it, you'll think of the Norway
yes, and it
Pavilion.
gives me a serotonin boost every time I put it on.
Mhm.
So we did that. Cody ended up watching the band. I think it was the bands from the UK pavilion, but they were playing on the stage in the American pavilion at this time. So he stopped to watch them, and me and Tiffany went over to the Cava because we always, every trip, have to get the avocado margaritas and queso. So we sat down and we did that. Cody met us over there, and then we went right outside and we caught Luminous. I didn't remember if I really liked these or not, but they were very fun. However, they get unnecessarily dark at one point. Like, I was like, "Why is this so sad?" They do the one part where they're like, "Oh, we're all together," and then they're like, "But at some point, you will be alone." And then they play the "When Somebody Loved Me" from Toy Story, and I was like, "This is sad." I was like, "This is, like, gonna give someone a crisis." But then, of course, it, like, ends great, but I was like, "This does not need to be that dark."
It feels like their assignment was to make people cry, and that was the direction they
Yeah,
chose.
but, like, not the fun Disney cry, like, cry because you're lonely cry.
That's right.
I was like, "Okay." But we like, the end is fun, so it makes up for it. But
Mhm.
afterwards, my brother was like, "I really don't like that part." He was like, "That
Mhm.
made me really feel something."
Mhm.
I was like, "Yeah, I don't know why they decided to go that route, but it was a good show." And then, we wanted to walk over to the boardwalk. We figured we would let the Skyliner line die down a little bit. So we walked to the boardwalk. Cody played one of the boardwalk games that they have there that are open at night. I have some beef with them because they're a little bit they scammed us a little bit because they have the cute prizes hanging up, and then you play the game, and if you win a small prize, you think you're getting, like, one of the ones hanging up, and then all of a sudden they pull out this bucket of, like, 50-cent stuffed animals, and they're like, "Here you go, here's your prize, choose one of these." So I just thought that was funny. But we did that. Cody won his small prize, and then we shared the giant mozzarella stick from Blue Ribbon right there. Cody had had it on a previous trip and raved about it. It was very good, I will say. The cheese pull was, like, multiple feet long. So that was yummy, and then we were going to take the Skyliner back, and then we were all tired, and we were like, "I don't feel like walking all the way back." So we ended up just calling an Uber, and we Ubered back at 10:30, and that was that day.
All right. The next day was Monday, July 20th, your departure day, but you had some time before your
Yeah.
flight.
So we did not have to leave until 4:30 for our flight. So we kind of took our time. We left the room, honestly, a couple minutes after 11. So we got a knock on our door like a couple minutes before 11. She was not thrilled that we were not ready, but we made it out a couple minutes after 11. Felt kind of bad, but we left our bags with both services. And then Cody really, really wanted to do mini golf. So we were taking the Skyliner. We were going to take it over to Epcot and then just walk to Fantasia Gardens from there. But we were all hungry, so we decided to first Skyliner to Riviera for lunch. So we went to Primo Piatto. I had chicken tenders. Cody had the meatball sandwich, which were both delicious. Tiffany had the prosciutto and mozzarella sandwich, which was more like a grilled cheese with like a piece of prosciutto, so she didn't love that. But the other food was really good. And that's honestly, it's a great quick service to just relax, and that was nice. And then again, we Ubered so many times this trip. We were bad, but we were like, let's just Uber to Fantasia Gardens. So we Ubered there, but there was a storm coming in. And but Cody, like, once he gets set on something, he's set on it. So he was like, let's just do it. Like, let's see how far we get. The employee at the desk is like, I don't know. Tiffany was like, I don't know. He was like, I'm with her. But we still went and we did one hole. We all got a hole in one. And then they made the announcement that it closed. And the guy,
You don't wanna have a big metal rod out when it's lightning.
yeah, no, made sense. But the guy is literally hysterically laughing because the cashier,
But
because
can we go back to you all got a hole in one?
we did,
What the
yes.
heck?
Well, the first hole in Fantasia Gardens is not particularly difficult to get a hole in one. You just, as long as you shoot it with the right amount of force, it just kind of automatically goes
Mhm.
there. But yes, we all got a hole in one, started off strong, and then the rain came. This guy
Mhm.
is cracking up at us, and I was like, what do we do? He's like, normally we don't give rain checks if, like, we told you there was gonna be bad weather and you still did it. He was like, "But I'll do it because of her." He just points to Tiffany because she knew the whole time, and she was
Mm.
like so we got a rain check. We didn't end up using it, but at least now if we go back, we have admission. I don't think it didn't seem like it was something that expired, so we will have that for next time. And then the rain was coming, so we decided to just book it, and we went over to the Dolphin because I knew they had the arcade there that was kind of new, so we wanted to check that out. So this is a pretty good arcade because you earn tickets, they have ticket redemption, there's some little bowling in there. So we did have some fun in there. That was a good spot to be during a storm. We kept playing this one machine that had cute Disney cutie cuffs in it, if anyone knows what those are, but we love them and we put them in our cars. We actually were able to win 3 of them. So honestly, for the amount of money we spent in there, we pretty much got our money's back in cutie cuffs. So that was fun. We enjoyed that. And then we went up to the lobby for a bit. The rain was starting to slow down, so we decided to just call an Uber over to Disney Springs. So we got to Disney Springs at about 2:15. We hit the stores that we didn't get to hit the other Disney Springs night since we were just kind of at level 99. So we did kind of all the Disney themed stores, got our last minute things that we wanted to buy. We got some snacks for our cat sitter. And then we took the bus back to the resort. The day that we were leaving Disney Springs late at night, they did not check to make sure you were a resort guest. This day, they were checking to make sure you were a resort guest. At each kind of part where you turn in to go to your resort buses, they had somebody scanning there. So they did that. We're on the bus back to the resort at 4. We are getting our bags, getting ready to get the Uber. And this is when Cody goes, "I don't have my passport card." So I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I don't have it." He's like, "It was on the counter at Animal Kingdom Lodge." I was like, "And you didn't grab it?" I was like, "We definitely grabbed everything. There was nothing there." And he was like, "Wait." He's like, "No, I left it in the safe at Animal Kingdom Lodge." So we don't have real IDs yet, so we all just use our passports, and then Cody used his passport card. So now we're literally about to call the Uber, and he remembers this. I tried messaging in the chat. I don't know what happened, but he was very confused about where we were. So he contacted Pop instead of Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I don't know what happened there, but we went to the desk at Pop. They were able to call Animal Kingdom Lodge and they had it. So we decided to take the luggage to the airport, and Cody went and he took an Uber to Animal Kingdom Lodge. He was able to get that, thank goodness. And then we just met up at the airport. So could have been bad, but at
Yeah.
least we remembered before we got to the airport, even though it was not the most convenient timing, but that was the most younger brother thing that could probably happen, but it all worked out. So we got to the airport, we got dinner in the food court before security because I just find it's hard to get food when you're through security there because the lines are always long. Security was super quick. Our flight was delayed about 20 minutes and then it was undelayed, but then it was delayed again. So we boarded a little bit late, not super late, but then it ended up taking a long time because something with weather, they went around the weather. So when you're going back to New Jersey, it's usually just kind of a straight shot. We ended up going over like Ohio. We went like all the way around over to New York. So we ended up not landing until around 11 p.m. So it took us, our flight was supposed to be at 7s when we'd usually land at like 10 something. It usually takes under 3 hours. And instead we landed at 11. So it was like a 4-hour total process between boarding a little bit late and then taking the extra go arounds. But then we got our bags. That happened pretty quick. We Ubered home and that was our trip.
And that was that.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. So overall, pretty good.
Yes.
Just a couple of little snafus here and there, but overall, you did a lot in just a little bit of time.
Yes, we did.
So, overall thoughts about traveling this time of year. Have you ever been in July?
I don't know about July, but yes, in August. And I think unless it's for someone's birthday again, I would rather not go in the summer again. I used to be a teacher before I'm in my current career path, so I used to kind of have to go at certain times of the year, but now it's more flexible. But we still went just because it was my birthday and Cody's home from school. But moving forward, ideally, we would avoid the summer.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Pros and cons, but it
Yeah,
sounds like
definitely.
is it the heat that made you feel that way?
It was the heat. Yeah, it just adds a layer of exhaustion. So,
Uh-huh. And I think I know the answer to this question, but what about staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge?
oh, would definitely stay again. Yeah, especially when you rent DVC, the price we got was so good for it that I would absolutely stay there again.
Mhm. And Pop Century, would you stay there again?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've stayed at Pop a couple times. Tiffany loves Pop. It just when I'm at Pop, I feel like I'm at Disney.
Mhm.
So and it's so convenient there too you have access to so many different areas, so definitely would stay at Pop.
Yeah, when I stay there, I feel like I'm at Disney. That's a
Yes.
good one.
Mhm.
And then what about using Weight Magic? Was this your first time using Weight Magic?
It was. We've used it by Skipper, never Weight Magic, and our experience was pretty good with it. I will say when we first talked about it, I don't think we talked about it during the pre-trip, we talked about it after, but there wasn't an app. When I went there, they were actually, like, beta testing the app, so I was able to download, like, a beta test app that then let me download the app, and then I think while we were on our trip, the app officially launched. So
Okay.
now there is an app for it. It is a little bit more confusing than using Standby Skipper, but the fact that they could modify was really helpful.
And now you have a year-long subscription, so
We
you
do,
can
yes.
use it. It's
We
not
have our
I also have a year-long subscription. It's not super
Mhm.
expensive, so that's nice. I
Yeah.
didn't I didn't realize they had just launched their app, so that's good to know.
Yes, and, yeah, since we have annual passes, I was like, "I think we will get our use out of it, so
Mhm.
might as well."
Yeah, and I'm glad that you were able to make it good use of it even on your spinning the wheel day.
Yes. Mhm.
So that's good. And then what else? I was trying to think if there's anything else that was new for this trip that maybe level 99. Will you go back?
Okay, so we were going to go back and we talked to the employee and he said it's best to come in the morning during a weekday. So we were thinking about going back Monday morning, but it just didn't work out with our plan. I think it would be very fun if you go in the morning on a weekday and you don't go when you're already tired and exhausted at night and it's crowded. I think we want to try it again, but I think they're actually opening one in New Jersey near us. So I think we're just going to try one not in Disney because I think also the fact that it's in Disney makes it extra crowded too. So it's the rooms that we did do were really cool and the whole area was really cool. But just if you want to do it, be conscious of when you're going.
Mhm. That's good to know because
Mhm.
I haven't been yet, but I will definitely look at the timing on that. But
Yeah.
it's hard for those of us that are planners because the morning time is usually for other things like
Yes.
going on
Mhm.
rides. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of competition for morning activities.
Yes, there is. Mhm.
So that makes sense. Okay. So you guys have annual passes. Do you have another trip in the works?
We do. So just me and Tiffany are planning to go in early December. I have not been at Christmas. The only times I've been there during Christmas were when I was a little kid and then during COVID time. So it wasn't full Christmas. So we're looking forward to that. And then we will probably go at some point next spring. I'm not sure if it'll be just me and Tiffany or if it'll work with Cody's schedule. Maybe he'll come along again too because he loves Disney too. But yes, we'll definitely be going again soon.
That'll be a very different vibe. But that's what
Yeah.
makes it fun, though. It's like every time you
Mhm.
go, it has a different personality to it.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. Is there anything about your trip we didn't talk about yet?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all. Yeah,
All
overall,
right.
it was a good trip, and always just ask. That's my that's
Just
my
ask.
motto. Mhm.
All right. That's a takeaway for everybody. Just ask. All
Mhm.
right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to share, Ashley. This has been fun.
Yes, thank you so much, Shannon, for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that trip report. I enjoyed talking to Ashley, and we did keep talking on Patreon. Patrons will not be surprised to hear that I wanted to talk more about Big Brother because I talk about Big Brother a lot on Patreon because I love reality TV and especially the season of Big Brother. We also talked about her future travel plans, including the possibility of going on a cruise. And she had briefly mentioned looking into the Tink flying as part of Happily Ever After, and she had done some research. And I wanted to ask her what she found in her research. So that is up on Patreon right now in both video and audio form. I think that'll wrap up this episode of WDW Prep to Go. For more information, please check the show notes in your podcast app or head to the website, wdwprepschool.com. Click on podcast at the top, scroll down to episode 524. Until next time, I will see you on the site.